What's going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Chaos Head Noah. Last time on, we went through most of the game again with little differences here and there of Takumi losing his mind as per usual. The only exceptional delusion I can think of off the top of my head right now is I chose did I choose like neutral for yeah, I chose neutral for most of my choices. And during that time when he first meets Remy, he actually doesn't know her name at all. So that's actually, I feel like that's a hint towards of if you do a delusion, you're connected to the real Takayumi, who of course already knows who Remy is. That's how delusional Takayumi can, finds out about her name, that it just appears in his head, is because he's kind of connected himself to Shogun, which is actually a pretty neat detail and showcases of like, yeah, these delusions do come from or like are fed off of Shogun, which is real cool. But at the very end, after Yua talks to Ban and Momose about her connection to the New Gen murders and how much she wants to solve it, after she leaves, she is confronted by Silla, who drops a couple hints implying that Takayumi is behind the New Gen cases, and it kind of just solidifies within Yua's mind that Takayumi is the New Gen culprit. And so right now, I feel like it's going to be a race to see how this ends up, since Takayumi doesn't have his disc sword. Yua doesn't have a Discord either, but, let's see how this turns out, shall we, folks? Okay. Yo. Hey, Night-Kun, I've been waiting for you, because this has been another New Gen. What are you even on about? Insert ASCII hard here. New Gen, dude, what the fuck you think I am about? How exactly do we go from new gen to nude gen? New generation, new gen, nude gen. Hey, there, come on, that shit's obvious. More importantly, there's a seventh case. The seventh case. It happened again. Another new gen. How long was this damn thing going to go on for? Was I next? Would I be the victim of the eighth case? The ninth? Anxiety aside, Grim was pretty much a new gen get news guy at this point. He'd been keeping me in the loop about basically everything. Even now, he was going out of his way to link a bunch of blog posts and news articles about it. Seems like he really wanted me to take a look. Biting my lip, I reluctantly clicked the first link. Ah, the DQN puzzle. Also, is this stuff we've seen before? Let me see. Oh. Damn it. What the hell was the control for it? It's been a while. Shit, what was that? I think it was, no. Wait. Key. Shit, wasn't there, like, something at the very beginning? Oh, yeah, it's help. That's what it is. Yeah, for skip. That doesn't look like it. On November 4th at approximately 4:50 a.m., the dead bodies of three men were discovered hanging from an iron pole near a railroad in Shibuya, Tokyo. The deceased have been identified as 19-year-old Fujitada Kohere, unemployed, 20-year-old Anazawa Sabuo, a college student, and 19-year-old Takari Ryo, a construction worker. According to the police, the bodies were severed in half at the waist, but the wounds do not indicate the use of any sharp weaponry. Furthermore, the bottom halves of each of the bodies were interchanged with one another, forming new combinations which were tightly sewn back together with thread, carved into each body with the letters D, Q, and N, respectively. The police are investigating the possibility that this may be a message left behind by the culprit. On the popular anomalous online message board at Channel, images of the incident were leaked prior to official coverage of the event. It has already been accepted as the seventh case of the New Generation Madness, aka New Gen. It was christened the DQN puzzle, due to the manner in which the top and bottom halves of the corpses were recombined. Notably, on the ad channel, the term DQN means individual lacking basic common sense. Regarding the serial new-gen cases, the mourning families of the victims have been taking legal action against some particularly offensive posts on ad channel, a move which has sparked fierce debate online. What? It says DQN? Wow, literally zero connection to the other cases. Boys are dumb as fuck, whoa. You trying to say it's one of us anti-DQNs? With their lower bodies swapped around and shit, it's like a puzzle, but with corpses. If only I could trade in my upper body for some alphas. Wow. Our Esper boy Nishijou sniffle out the perf for us anytime now, whoa. New gen news bearer. New gen number 1, Groove Dive. New gen number 2, Manchild. New gen number 3, Crucifixion. New gen number 4, Vampire. Number 5, Numbskull. Number 6, Figure Food. And number 7, DQN Puzzle. To be continued.
今日午前4時50分ごろ、東京都渋谷区の線路沿いで男性3人の他殺死体が鉄柱に吊り下げられているのを通りかかった新聞販売員の男性が発見しました。警察の調べによりますと、殺されたのはいずれも渋谷区に住む無職藤田康平さん、大学生の安沢三郎さん、とび職の高木亮さんの3人です。
That's right, yeah. Like, I think Takumi was at the hospital when he found out about this, or was that only when they caught the quote-unquote new-gen murderer?
3人とも胴体の部分が切断され、それぞれの上半身と下半身が別々に入れ替えられて糸で縫合されていました。3人の額にはそれぞれ謎の傷がつけられており、警察では犯人からのメッセージではないかと見て調べています。渋谷では2ヶ月ほど前から猟奇殺人事件が頻発しており、警察では今回の事件も同一犯による犯行の可能性が高いとみて捜査を続けています。
Whoa. At the end of the news clip, photographs of the three victims were shown. I had seen those faces before.
あいつらだ。
Yeah.
昨日僕に絡んできた。
They'd given them my wallet, but they kicked my ass anyway. I then fallen unconscious, and when I woke up, Kazupi was beside me. The three of them had been collapsed on the ground, covered in blood. I dug my wallet out from my pocket and stared at it intently. When I came to, Kazupi had been carrying it, and she'd given it back to me soon after. Could the person who killed those three be... Well... No, definitely not. The last time I'd seen them, they had been beaten to a pulp and covered in blood, but they hadn't been cut in half or anything. Which would mean they'd been killed after Kazupi and I had left. It had to have been Shogun after all. Was he trying to provoke me? Was I next? Would I be the next one to die? It was also possible that Shogun could show up in person again. He seemed to be playing with me like it was some kind of game. After all, maybe he'd feel like sending me on another quest soon. Just the thought alone terrified me. Remy, save me, please. Where did you go? Weren't you supposed to protect me? Uh-oh. Just now, there'd been a knock at the door. Someone was there. I looked at the clock on my PC. It was past 8 p.m. Who in their right mind would show up this late? Wait, Remy, it had to be her. She finally come to save me. She said she would stay by my side, hadn't she? So it only made sense that she would come back to me. Would I have killed her to come a little earlier, though? Feeling like my salvation was at hand, I practically threw myself at the door. I then removed the padlock and opened the door. Oh, God. I tried to call out Remy's name, but a hand suddenly clamped my mouth shut. Oh, fuck. Panic instantly overwhelmed me. I didn't even have the chance to see who it was. I tried forcing the hand off with my mouth. But before I could, my attacker threw all their weight against me and I staggered backward. Still, I desperately tried to stand my ground. I thrilled my arms around wildly, thinking it would somehow help me break their grasp. I then opened my mouth wide and bit down on their hand as hard as I could. I mean, yeah, that's a hell of a way to get out of a clip. But despite that, my attacker remained silent. They weren't even fazed. I bent down with all my strength, so they must have been in pain, but they still didn't let go. They pressed against me even harder, causing me to lose my balance. No longer able to resist, I fell to the floor with them on top of me. Ooh, the back of my head hit the ground so hard I nearly lost consciousness. Ugh. My vision started to go blurry, and I couldn't tell how exactly I landed. And to top it off, the assailant was still covering my mouth, so tightly in fact that I could barely breathe. My consciousness was starting to fade, so before I blacked out, I desperately tried to get a glimpse of the person who attacked me. Oh, fuck. Oh boy. Yua? Oh god, I completely forgot about her. I was so focused on Shogun, his #1 underling, slipped my mind. Realizing that, the sheer terror shed shivers down my entire body. Sure, as hard as I could, desperately trying to escape. But under the full weight of her body, I couldn't move an inch. Under normal circumstances, I would have been focused on the fact that our bodies were pressed together, but I lacked the capacity for that right now. Now wasn't the time to be drooling over female contact. There was only one thing on my mind. I needed to get away somehow, or she'd kill me. Blood trickled out of Yua's hand where I'd been there. Even so, she kept pressing down with all her might. Her grip just as intense as when she had first grabbed hold of me. Fuck. She was trying relentlessly to keep my jaw shut, to the point where her nails were digging into my cheeks. A sharp, stabbing pain pierced through my body. Oh my god. Her mutters came between ragged breaths, much to my horror. I had to keep resisting, so I grabbed Yua's long hair and pulled hard. But Yua still didn't budge. All she did was grimace. Using her free hand, she gripped my hand tightly and dug in her nails once again. Oh, God. The immense pain forced me to let go, and then using that tiny opening, she pinned my hands to the floor. Jesus. Yua's glasses had swept down her nose during the fight. Tears were welling up behind them, likely from the pain of me pulling her hair. Just like that day at Choto Park, she was staring right through me with those cold, sharp eyes. What the hell was she talking about? Is this the same bullshit as always calling me the new gen killer? I haven't killed anyone. You came here to kill me, you dumb bitch. I tried to glare back at Yua, but hers was just too terrifying to confront. Nothing good could come from making eye contact with dangerous people, and I soon came to realize how true that was, how unhinged the world could really be. I looked away, wishing from the depths of my soul that I'd wake up from this nightmare, but... Oh my god. Yua brought her face even closer. I could feel her ragged breaths on my cheeks. With how close she was, it was practically impossible to look anywhere else. Her breath was incredibly hot. I wanted to headbutt her, but Yua was pressing down so hard I couldn't even lift my head off the floor. Oh shit. Well, that is correct, but he's not here. DID, multiple personalities in other words. When we were at Cafe, you had said the same thing, but that was just some stupid fucking delusion of hers. She didn't know shit. She sure as hell didn't know me better than I did. Oh fuck. Well, okay, she's not going to kill us, but still. I don't need to understand shit. I didn't fucking kill anyone. I don't have multiple personalities. It's the kind of shit you only see in anime and manga and shit. This is real life. I don't have DID, goddammit.
私はあなたと話がしたいの。聞こえているんでしょ
Oh god. I'm not Shogun. You've got the wrong guy. Shogun is someone else. I've never even met him, for fuck's sake. He uses a wheelchair. He appears out of thin air like some kind of ghost. He's always reading my mind like some sick fucking pervert. Despite having the voice of a kid, he's covered in wrinkles like an old man. He's my enemy. Don't let me in with him. Just the thought makes me want to puke. Wait, wasn't Yua supposed to be Shogun's annoying? Could've sworn she was looking for him. But it really did seem like she generally had me and Shogun mixed up.
西条君、自重して。あなたは少し眠っていて。
Oh god.
将軍にその体を渡して。
No, no. Even if I do go to sleep, that won't fucking happen. I don't have multiple personalities, you stupid fucking bitch. I tried my hardest to say all that to her, but since her hand was still pressed firmly against my mouth, the best I could do was make a bunch of muffled groans.
出てきなさい。出てきて。
Oh god.
出てきて。出られないの？出てこられるはずよ。出たいでしょ。出てこい、人殺し。
Oh my god. Tears began to fall from my eyes. I lost all will to resist, all remaining strength left my body. I was so tired. Why? Why did I have to deal with this psycho? Why did I have to listen to all the bullshit she spewed at me? What had I done to deserve this? This was just too much. All because this delusional stalker had come to the wrong conclusion and now no one would save me. Was I going to die? By her hands? Even if I didn't, even if I made it through today, there'd be no guarantee I'd survive tomorrow. Shogun could still show up at any time. Would I have to live the rest of my life in fear? Please, I didn't want that. I didn't want to live like that. I'd rather go insane and then get locked up in some mental facility somewhere. I'd rather die right here and right now. God. Yua slowly began to remove her hand from my mouth. Then she started lifting herself off me. As soon as her weight was completely off, I felt instant relief. Oh god. I shook my head lifelessly.
ざりなんだ。いっそ殺せ。
殺さない。私が殺させない。あなたは罪を償うべきなのよ。そして真実を語るべき。
Oh god.
死んで逃げることは許さない。許さないわ。許すわけにはいかないの。
Oh shit, man.
将軍は別にいる。ニュージェネの犯人はそいつだよ。
将軍はあなたよ。
Oh god.
あなたなの。あなたしか考えられない。
My words had gone in one ear and out the other. She refused to listen to me. She was completely convinced that she knew the truth. It's very funny considering that technically she is right. That it is Takumi, but you know she's thinking which one is the fake one is wrong. So you know, and that Shogun is actually the new gen killer himself as well. Which there's no point resisting.
将軍、出てきて。出てきてよ。出てきてって言ってるでしょ。どうして出てこないの？あなたがそこにいるのは分かってるのよ。絶対に将軍を引き出してみせるわ。
Oh god, she is a persistent woman, which it makes sense. I understand how she's doing this, and I feel like she herself actually has DID because, you know, mixing up the two with, you know, her parents obviously got mind erased about the second daughter by Suwa, obviously. Maybe she's having a kind of identity crisis right now with herself of like, which sister was she? Kind of like fucking Mion Shion from Higurashi. What is with these psychological horrors and twin sisters? Anyway.
私は諦めないから。 それまで絶対に逃がさないから。
Oh fuck. Suddenly Yua stood up and went across the open container door. She slowly picked the padlock off the floor and used it to lock the door shut. Then she stashed the key in the pocket of her uniform. Why was she doing this? What was she thinking?
逃がさないから。
Oh fuck, that is a new sprite. A faint murmur, spoken to no one but herself, one that chilled me to the bone. Once again, trapped in this closed box. Of the countless fast food restaurants located throughout Shibuya, every single one was always packed front to back with young people. It took a lot of courage for a lone middle-aged man to come to a place like this. After all, he would be sure to stick out like a sore thumb. Those were the thoughts circulating in Ban Yasuji's mind as he sipped his coffee, surrounded all sides by young people chatting away. The drink in his paper cup was already starting to go cold. The single clear file folder sat on the table in front of him. Inside it was a handful of photocopied documents from the investigation files, many of which were adorned with Ban's countless sticky notes. Ban had arrived at the restaurant about an hour ago, the location where he planned to personally re-examine the file's contents. As for why he had chosen such a busy place like this, he had been removed from the new Gen investigation team a few days prior, but he still wished to independently run background checks on all relevant persons. The copy of the report that Ban was sifting through, which was never intended to leave the police station, had a few images attached to it. One photograph depicted one of the victims of the first New Gen incident, the group dive. A girl named Kinosoki Mia. Ban's interest had been piqued the previous day when he had met with Mia's older sister, Kinosoki Yua. After hearing Yua describe Mia's personality, he had decided to investigate further. At first, he was also looking into rumors from around Shibuya, such as the high school girl with a sword, but in the end, every weed turned up cold. That is except for Mia. Oh. And after reading through the documents again and again, he still felt like something was off. There was a lot of information which seemed trivial at best, or at the very least not directly related to the case. But after putting the pieces together, something felt out of place. And when Ban had heard Yua's story yesterday, that feeling had crept up on him all the more. After all, there was something in the file that Ban could not ignore. A pair of glasses was found among the possessions of Kunisoki Mia, one of the group dive participants. What? But Yua's the one with the glasses. Every time we've seen Mia, she's the one without the glasses. That was the detail that rubbed Ban the wrong way. He took a look at the rest of notes taken from various interviews conducted during the investigation. Taking another sip of coffee, Ban let out a befuddled grunt. From her birth, all the way until her death, there was not a single photograph of Kunosuke Mia wearing glasses. Yeah. It was her sister, Kunosuke Yua, that wore them. She had even gone so far as to obtain access to Kunosuke Mia's medical records. Sure enough, she had boasted perfect 20/20 vision, and thus had no need for glasses. Kunosuke Mia had been a quiet girl with an interest in anime, quite the contrast to her happy-go-lucky sister. That all matched up with the description Kunosuke Yua had given. While the 5 victims of the group dive were friends, some reports suggested that their encounter at the rooftop was the first time they had ever met. Allegedly, they were online friends who had gotten together for an offline meet. Naturally, their online activity was heavily scrutinized as a part of the investigation, but there were never any signs of suicidal tendencies displayed by the victims. Furthermore, several hours before the group dive, 2 high school girls, who appeared to be twins, had been spotted walking to a fast food restaurant in Shibuya. Oh. Ban took a look around. He was sitting in the very same fast food restaurant mentioned in the report. Before sitting down, Ben had also taken the time to speak with one of the restaurant's employees. The employee had told him that the two girls had chatted for a while, then proceeded to take a 10-minute bathroom break. What on earth could have taken them so long in there? Ben wondered. Yeah, 10 minutes. He stared intently at the woman's restroom, which caught him the scornful glare of every young girl nearby. Realizing this, Ben flashed a worried smile before returning his gaze back towards the streets outside the window. Interesting. Oh boy. 18 excruciating hours had passed since you had raided my container. Jesus! My hands had been tied behind my back and around the leg of my loft bed. Oh my god. Fortunately, I'd been tied sitting down, so it wasn't too exhausting. Unfortunately, the rope coiled around my wrists were constantly digging into them, which was fairly painful. I somehow managed to doze off for around 3 hours during that time, but it didn't do me any good. I was still very sleepy, likely due to the fact that no one could get any half-decent sleep like this. Damn it. I wasn't into this S&M shit at all. If only I could hit decline on this RP invite. Yo was still sitting on the sofa, watching me. She had been doing so all night. She really had been putting her all into it, too. She did nothing else the entire time. Did she ever sweep? Fuck. What was she even trying to accomplish here to begin with? Yo was convinced that I had DID, but I knew that wasn't true. She could wait like that all she wants, but Shogun would never come out. She hadn't gagged me, and actually allowed me to speak right after she tied me down, of course. Of course, I'd taken full advantage of that to voice the above thoughts over and over again, but they just went in one ear and out the other. After a few hours of trying to change her mind, I realized how obstinate she really was, so I just gave up. And after that...
あなたが将軍を生み出したんです。あなたが将軍なんです。現実逃避の手段。
No, it's the
将
opposite.
軍はあなた自身であり、
No, it's the opposite.
同時にあなたではない別の存在。もう一人のあなた。あなたの負の側面。あなたの弱い心を守るための存在。あなたの狂気。快楽殺人者。手段は選ばない。殺す相手も選ばない。殺すことが存在理由。誰でもよかったんですか？本当にミーアはなぜ選ばれたんですか？答えて。答えてよ。答えてください。答えてほしい。答えないと許しません。
Yua kept mumbling her pathological ramblings over and over and over again, never coming up for air. My room was extremely small, and my only means of covering my ears, my hands were tied up, so I had no choice but to listen. I thought I was going insane. On top of that, I felt as if I'd only gotten to experience the tip of the iceberg. I started trying to think of a way to escape, tried pulling the toilet card to weigh my chances of getting out of here, but it didn't work. She did untie my hands and want me to go, but she followed me very closely. She stood right behind me the entire time, never taking her eyes off me, even when I was doing my business. God. And to make matters worse, she even continued spouting those insane ramblings of hers from behind my back. Hey, I'm just trying to take a piss here. Man, how long was this shit gonna go on for? I couldn't even get some actual sleep because who knows when this bitch was gonna snap and kill me out of nowhere. Then again, even if I was awake, I wasn't confident I would be able to defend myself anyway.
何がきっかけ？どうすれば出てくるんですか？
I don't know.
肉体的苦痛？精神的苦痛？性的衝動？トラウマ？偶然？
Look, you, I think you've read or watched too many true crime documentaries on Netflix, alright? I'll be honest with you. Yua's murmur suddenly came to a stop. But even then, she was still glaring at me. The room had become dead silent, and yet, given the circumstances, the stillness only served to make me even more tense. Suddenly, the sound of a stomach growling broke the silence. Gotta eat. I hadn't had anything to eat or drink, so I was obviously hungry, but that still hadn't been me just now. Which meant that Yua was hungry too. Moreover, I was sure I heard her stomach growling, but Yua's lack of reaction almost made me reconsider. Normal girls, Saratan for example, would have had a way cuter reaction. Yeah, she'd most likely say something like this.
何さ、しょうがないっしょ。食べたいけど、すごく我慢してるんだから。なんでって、それは前にあなたに太ってるって言われたから。でも別にさ、あなたに言われたからダイエットしてるわけじゃないよ。勘違いしないでよね、このコケナス。
You baka. What a classic tsundere. As transparent as a glass window. Sarah. They're so cute when you get mad and blush like that, Sarah. Damn it, the situation I was in was really making me want to escape into my delusions.
食べないんですか?
Yua's tone was as ice cold as ever. As I was still sitting, she lowered her gaze down at my feet. A plate had been placed in front of them. It was a plate full of pasta, Tawako spaghetti to be precise, served with a finely cut seaweed garnish. However, it had already been sitting there for around 2 hours, so the pasta probably was all dry and sticky by now. Damn. Yua had made it for me. She tied me up and left without saying a word, and came back about 30 minutes later with a heaping plate of pasta. It would seem she'd gone to the supermarket, bought the ingredients, and cooked them into a pasta for me outside the container house. What was she plotting by making me a home-cooked meal? Couldn't wrap my head around it. She could have just bought something that was ready-made at the convenience store. Maybe she poisoned it. The thought made me want to stay as far away from it as possible. Besides, it wasn't like I could eat it even if I wanted to. My hands were tied up, and the plate was at my feet.
あんたが食べればいい。
Remembering that Yua's stomach had growled, I gave that sarcastic retort.
あなたを肉体的にいたぶろうとか、そんなつもりはないんです。私はただ、将軍が出てくるのを待っているだけ。
But he isn't here.
だから、食べてください。食べてくれなきゃ困ります。食べて。
この状態で、食べられると思ってるの？無茶言わないでよ。
Yua stood up, walked up to me, and then she crouched down next to me. I looked away in fear, still holding on to the hope that she untied the rope coiled around my hands. But of course, that wasn't what happened. Instead, Yua picked up the plate, struggled to twist the dry as hell sticky pasta with a fork, and then once she finally managed to, she held it up to my mouth.
どうぞ。
嫌だ。食べないぞ。
Okay, open wide, say on! And its variants were events you could only experience in Woge. This was real life, with a woman tying me up in my own house, and I can't even escape. When things were this tense, all her feeding me did was highlight her murderous intent all the more. At least untie me if you're going to do shit like this. At least if I was untied, I could pretend to eat some and go, "Yep, this tastes like shit, take it away, okay, thanks." But here I was, even afforded that.
レンジでチンしましょうか?
いらないって言ってるじゃないか。
I thought about knocking the plate out of her hands with my knee, but if I did that, she'd definitely get pissed, and there was no telling what she'd do next. Thought sent chills down my spine, so in the end I decided to hold back the urge.
分かってください。私が西条くんにこんなことするのは、あなたを救うためでもあるんです。決してあなたを傷つけるためじゃないんですよ。
The fuck are you talking about, Yua? Are you stupid? Wanna die? Who the hell did she think she was? She wanted to save me? Sure, it was true that Nujin, Shogun, and all that stuff scared the living shit out of me, and I desperately wanted someone to save me. But that someone was clearly excluding Yua. Never has to be subjected to this crazy bitch's delusions.
食べて
Oh god.
無理にでも食べて
There was cold pasta twirled along the fork. Yua shoved it towards my mouth.
食べられますよね
Yua moved even closer, still glaring at me to no end.
食べてください食べて
Oh god. Suddenly Yua stopped dead in her tracks. Why did this bitch come closer and closer every time she got mad? I kept looking away and clamped my mouth shut. She must have been insane if she thought I'd ever eat something she made. I'd end up with fucking food poisoning. Fuck, man. An hour or so had passed. My stomach was still growling. I was so scared that I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. Also, I think this is some new music. Ooh, I like it. Ooh, yeah. I think this is a new track. It's nice and funky.
食べて食べて食べてって言ってるでしょ食べて
Yua was still crouching down next to me, staring at me. She was still trying to shove the pasta down my throat, too. She had stayed there the entire time in the exact same position. Oh my god.
食べて食べてください食べないと食べて食べてほしい食べて食べなさい食べて
Fuck.
食べていいの食べなよ食べろ
Jesus. She just kept on making her demands in a series of low murmurs, refusing to do anything else. I had a feeling that another hour had passed already. I was so creeped out, I couldn't even lift a finger. I was petrified. I was a deer perpetually stuck in the headlights. She hadn't hurt me or anything, and she hadn't forced me to eat the pasta either. Yet, somehow I felt more and more afraid of Yua with each passing moment. She was simply waiting for me to eat, and nothing else. Yet, I was still scared shitless. A normal person would have given up after about 5 minutes, but not Yua, no. Yua had kept at it for over an hour. If this were a normal version of this kind of thing, Yua would pull my hair, force my mouth open, and scream at me to eat it, you scum. She didn't, so I didn't have the slightest clue what the hell she was thinking. She was a total freak. She was broken. No sane person could do what she was doing. She wasn't human. She couldn't be. I'm scared. 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 I was at rock bottom. I wanted to kneel down and beg for her forgiveness. My entire body was covered in a thick, disgusting sweat. I was there in so much anguish mentally that I could hardly breathe. I didn't know what to do. I never had a girl stare at me from this close and for this long before. But who the hell has? If we were a couple having some lovey-dovey conversation while we loved our noses together or some shit, that'd be fine. But no. No. Yua just kept on repeating the same shit over and over again like a broken goddamn record. But this broken record never stopped fucking glaring at me. How is this even real?
食べて食べなさい
Goddamn.
食べて
I think she wants me to eat it.
食べてください食べろ
I couldn't deal with her case on me any longer, so I dared to squeeze out a single word. My voice had gone hoarse.
食べるよ
Yua's murmur stopped. She remained completely still, in the same posture as before. I forced my mouth open and nervously ate the pasta that she had been trying to feed me for over an hour. My mouth was already dry to begin with, and eating this withered pasta definitely didn't help it. It just sucked away any remaining moisture I had left. I couldn't bear the taste, so I almost didn't chew at all as I choked the pasta down. Yua blinked a few times, surprised to see me actually eating. Like a statue come to life, she started moving again.
おいしい
No, it doesn't taste good at all. I thought to myself, there's no way I could say it to her face, so I just gave a weak nod instead.
よかったです
Okay, I think you have DID, Yua, or it's either that or you are. Once your mind is focused on something, you do nothing except achieve that goal, which I can kind of get, but not to this fucking degree. Despite what she said, Yua still had the most deadpan expression on her face. I couldn't detect even the slightest bit of happiness. She moved the fork back towards the plate she was holding, and with it she picked up another clump of the dry, sticky pasta and held it out to my mouth once again. Did I really have to eat all of it? Would she not let me go otherwise? Give me a break already. Tears started flowing from my eyes. I couldn't hold them in anymore. I was just too scared. And yet, no matter how hard I cried, Yua didn't seem to care. She would keep on doing this until I finished the entire plate. So I ate, tears endlessly streaming down my face, and she kept on feeding me that dry, shitty pasta. This is a weird fucking image in my head of a guy tied up and a girl force feeding him fucking dry ass pasta while he's crying. It's probably somebody's kink, but you know. By the time I finished all of it, I was both physically and mentally exhausted.
お腹いっぱいになりましたか？なりましたよね。なったはず。一生懸命作った甲斐がありました。
Okay, thanks. Thanks for answering your own question. In contrast to what she said, Yua's tone was cold as ice. Then at last she took a small step away from me and placed the plate on my desk and sat back down on the sofa. After sitting down, she looked in my direction and went right back to staring at me. And as she stared, she stopped moving. Don't look at me, damn it. Please stop looking at me. I did nothing but chant those words over and over inside my head, but I couldn't say them out loud. I was too scared. Was she really going to monitor me for an entire day? This was straight up psychological torture. It's the mere thought of it made me even more depressed.
なんでこんなことするんだよ。
I was crying now, but I couldn't help but ask that. I needed to know.
僕に何の恨みがあって。
妹が死んだんです。
Yeah. Huh? Younger sister? For a split second, Yua looked like she was about to cry, only to quickly reassume her ice-cold expression.
集団ダイブの被害者の一人、私の双子の妹、ミヤって言います。私は妹を殺した犯人を許さないって思ってました。そしてあなたにたどり着いた。あなたの苦しみを知りました。私は妹がなぜ殺されなくちゃいけなかったのか、その真実を知りたい。
I think the truth is your sister was just at the wrong place with fucking Suwa and his damn Darth Spider helmet.
なぜ犯人が将軍が妹を殺したのか知りたい。それとあなたも助けたい。分かってください。分かってくれますよね。分かるはず。分かるはずです。
Yeah, definitely. I thought back to the video of the group dive that had been uploaded to YouTube, and one of the crying victims in that video had been Yua's younger sister. I knew full well what Yua was going through. Same kind of thing had happened recently with Nanami after all. But that didn't mean I could forgive what she was doing right now. This crazy bitch had broken into my house, tied me up, and now she was holding me captive. Yeah, no way in hell I could ever feel sympathy for her after all that shit. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking extreme. Real extreme. You got the wrong guy, but there ain't nothing going to unconvince her of that because of fucking Suwa. I completely lost track of time. My room had no windows after all. I had no way to tell what time it was.
その目誰の目ってどういう意味？どうしてこれから殺す相手に言わせたの？どうしてダイイングメッセージとして残したの？あなたは何を訴えたいの？
Usually I just check the time on my phone or my PC. Not that there were any other ways to do so, but since I was still tied to the leg of my bed, I absolutely couldn't use either method. The only chance I got to check the time was whenever I went to the bathroom, but even then it was a pretty small window. But the longer this torture lasted, the harder it got for me to get up and use the toilet. I simply didn't feel the urge to piss, likely because I wasn't drinking enough water. I felt as if I'd been deprived of all physiological phenomenon for over a day now.
どうしてダーススパイダーなの？それを被ることで何を訴えたかったの？ 宗教的な意味があるの？
Come on.
ダークヒーロー願望。それともセランをバカにしたいだけ？
Yua practically didn't move an inch. She simply continued sitting on the sofa, standing up every once in a while only to sit back down right after. And her muttering hadn't stopped the entire time. How was she still talking after this long? It wasn't like I could kill time on my PC, nor could I make any calls or send any messages. I couldn't even sweep. All I could do was sit there and be assaulted endlessly with questions. Yua's mumbling was starting to sound like a mantra or something at this point. I could stand being watched for this long. Sure, I had to cope with Shogun reading my mind and the sensation of being observed by the gaze, but while those things did suck, I could still at least stomach them. But I wish I could say the same about Yua's unending watch. Her gaze was so utterly devoid of any emotion or warmth that it generally felt as if I wasn't even there, like my very existence itself was constantly being ignored, if not outright denied by her. Yeah, because you're not the person she wants. Regardless, the point is that I knew nothing about what was going on in the outside world, and I wouldn't know, couldn't, as long as I was tied up. I had lost all perception of time. I didn't know how many days had passed since I'd been tied up. I had a feeling that 2 days or so had gone by, but it sure as hell felt more like a month. Being deprived of my freedom a moment was really stressful. Every minute of however many hours had passed, I would say to myself I need to look at a clock. That was the sole thing on my mind.
それとも
Huh. Yua's head suddenly tilted. She took off her glasses and wiped the eyelids that occulted her bleary eyes. She was only human, I imagine, so she was finally starting to get tired. She hadn't caught a wink of sleep the entire time, after all. Maybe she should have thought this through before doing it. She was just wasting her time. Nothing would come of any of this. This never would have happened if she just listened to me.
いつ出てきてくれるんですか？
Her whispers were practically delirious. Come out. She must have still been talking about Shogun.
どうしたら出てきてくれるんですか？出てきてよ。
Unfortunately for you, he won't come out no matter how much you plead, because he's not there to begin with.
待ってるから待って。
When silence took over the room once more, Yua's body slowly tilted over. With all of her strength gone, she fell to her side on the sofa. Had she fallen asleep? Had her batteries finally run out? I breathed a sigh of relief, and all the tension in my body released along with it. I hadn't had even a single moment to relax the entire time she had been staring at me. Now that she wasn't, I could finally take it easy for a bit.
タッキー、何のんきなこと言ってんの？
Zaratan's voice rang out from beside my monitor.
逃げるなら今がチャンスなんよ。それどころかさ、今なら無防備なユアッチを逆監禁できるかも。そしたらやりたい放題じゃん、ボケナス。
Not now. Oh, I see. So I can degrade her and train her into becoming the perfect sex slave. Seems legit. Picking up what you're putting down. Yo was still whining on the sofa, so I took a nervous glance at her face. Jesus, Takumi. To be honest, if I ignored everything else, her sweeping face was actually pretty cute. Reminded me of when we first met, that gentle smile she had. I actually didn't know what Yo had really been faking back then, nor that she'd seen me as a murderer. If anything, I saw her as an enemy, as one of Shogun's underlings. But it was her fault for making me think that. She was the one who deceived me, who betrayed me, so if I wanted to degrade her and turn her into my sex slave, this bitch had no right to complain. Oh my god. I peeked at Yua's sweeping face once more. Her eyelids twitched erratically, and her face contorted in a pained expression. Then, from the corner of her eye, a single tear ran down her cheek. Could she be having a nightmare about her dead sister?
タッキー、調教師ないの？
After seeing her shed a tear like that, I already lost the drive.
監禁されて禁縛されてるのに？タッキーって聖人君子だね。
優しすぎる。そこはタッキーのいいところだけど、時と場合によるよ。
Shut up. That's not what I meant. Of course I wasn't going to forgive you that easily. I just didn't have the strength to be angry with her, nor to even resist at all. It was all gone, completely sapped. Was it because of the huge Louise intention? Could it have been because she told me about her little sister. Didn't really feel like Yua wanted to hurt me or anything, weird as that might sound. So in a way, I was struck with intense drowsiness, so I surrendered my body to that feeling, allowing myself to forget, if only for a moment, the pain my bound wrists were being tortured by. I'll think of a way out of this later. As soon as I woke up, I knew something was off. Like something was missing. Still half asleep, I looked around my room. I tried to stand up, but the rope coiled around my wrist dug in deep, and the sheer pain stopped me in my tracks. Pain immediately reminded me that I was tied up, and the one that had done so was Yua. Oh, Yua wasn't here. So that's what felt off. I was the only one left in the room. Where had she gone? Had she gone to make food or to use the bathroom? I don't know how many days had been since Yua locked me in here, but what I did know was that neither of us had been to school the entire time. We only went outside to use the bathroom or cook something. I wasn't even allowed to take a shower. I let out a heavy sigh. Yua should come back any minute now, and when she did, she started watching me all over again. Had Yua always been this stubborn, or was it the hatred and regret she felt from her sister's death that made her start acting this way? Regardless, how could I make her understand that I wasn't Shogun? Maybe I could show her the messages Shogun had sent me, if they were still on my PC anyway. But let's be honest, we were long past that. Yua was fully devoted to the delusional bullshit she'd come up with. Doubted she believed me, even if I did show them to her. I needed something more concrete, something to convince her that Shogun and I were two completely different people. If only he would just show up here, and then there would be no denying it. It kind of sucked for me if that happened, though. I didn't want him anywhere near me, and besides, if he came to my base, it'd probably be to kill me.
ねえねえタッキー、逃げた方がいいよ。あたし、あんな思い込み激しいストーカー女にこれ以上タッキーがいじめられるのを見たくないもん。
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. But I can't untie myself on my own. Obviously, I already made my fair share of attempts to escape, but my struggles had proven futile. Yua's knots were tight, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't even get them to budge.
あたしが3次元になれたら、今すぐタッキーを助けに行くのにな。
I don't know. As great as escaping sounds on paper, Sarah, I think just doing whatever she says like I've been doing is a far safer option. If I tried to escape and failed, it could make Yua go berserk. Whenever Yua lost her temper, it was crazy how scary she got, so I was going to do everything I could not to provoke her.
自分の命を守るために一番いい方法をちゃんと考えてるんだね。すごいよタッキー。だけどあたしさ、これ以上タッキーとあの女が同じ部屋にいるのは嫌だな。
Yeah. As much as I had to admit it, as long as I was tied up, I was entirely dependent on Yua to survive. Luckily, she hadn't been violent with me at all, yet. She even cooked for me and let me use the bathroom whenever I asked. She was still treating me like a human being, just, tied up. I was sure that when she finally understood that no matter how long she waited, Shogun wouldn't come out, she'd let me go. Hell, even better, I was sure she begged me for forgiveness, of course. Of course, I'd make her get down on her hands and knees, or else what would be the point? And while we're at it, I could accidentally grab her tits, too. Takumi, you son of a bitch. And then, it'd all be forgiven. Yua would go back to her own life, and I'd go on with mine. She'd never see me again, and I'd never see her again. So at the very least, the Yua threat would disappear completely, or, if I was very lucky, there was even a chance that she would have changed her heart and ended up joining my party. Shogun was still real and very much a problem, so Yua could step up and replace Rumi as my protector. Be better than nothing. We even had some common ground. Above all else, Yuo resented the new gen culprit, and therefore Shogun. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yuo's an interest in mine coincided.
僕って頭良くね。天才じゃね。
Yeah, man.
タッキーってば天才。私さ、ますますタッキーのこと好きになっちゃった。
And so, I decided to ride the storm out. But how long is long for Yuo is the question. Okay, where the hell was she? Yuo still hadn't shown any signs of coming back. Been a good while since he left too. Knew for a fact that at least a few hours had passed. Probably. Where in the world had she gone? Sure as hell wasn't the bathroom. Could also rule out that she'd been grabbing dinner, since there's no way it would have taken this long. Every time she'd gone out to buy us food, she just went to the nearest supermarket and came back shortly after. So where was she? Had she gone to school? I don't even know what time it was right now, but if it was around noon, then it was certainly a possibility. If I could have just looked at the minimum attendance chart, then I would have been able to know what day it was instantly. It would have told me a lot, really. For example, if you had kept me locked up for 3 days straight and the first day had been Friday, that would explain why she'd been able to stay here and not go to school. Yeah. Because it'd been the weekend. In other words, today was Monday and you had gone to school. That had to be it. It had to. What day had it been when you had broken into my room again? My consciousness was already foggy as all hell, so I can remember clearly. But what if she hadn't gone to school? What if she'd gone back home, for example? These days, every slut in high school would stay out overnight without asking their parents, but Yuo wasn't like that. Even if she hadn't gotten permission, staying over at my place for who knows how many nights would have definitely made her parents worry, so knowing that she'd gone back home in order to pacify them. Probably. That made a lot of sense, actually. Well, regardless of where she'd gone off to, she had to come back eventually. So it would be in my best interest to stay put and conserve my energy. Waiting out a small sigh, close my eyes. Might as well get some sleep. Oh boy. What happened to you? I couldn't sleep. I closed my eyes and tried my hardest to doze off for hours on end, but I just couldn't manage to. I ended up just staring at the door, torturing myself over whether or not you would come back. There was a bit of windstorm going on outside, so the door rattled faintly every once in a while. Whenever it did, I would immediately open my eyes, thinking that you had come back. But no matter how many times I thought that, she still hadn't. I was left all alone in this container, tied up like an animal. Since she was taking her sweet time, I decided I might as well try to break out of the restraints on my wrists. The rope that bound me to the leg of my bed was made of nylon, which was why I thought that maybe with enough force I could break free. So I poured all of my strength into my arms. Yeah, you haven't had anything to eat in fucking like couple days or had a lot to drink either, man. But it was no use. The rope didn't even budge. Or maybe I was just too weak. After all, I was a pretty big weakling in general. Taku freak that did nothing but play video and surf the web all day long. There's no way I could have broken that cord like some kind of movie protagonist. Tearing the cord with just an arm strength for one was obviously impossible, so I tried to think of some other way. Obviously, it would have been really easy if I had a knife or something, but fortunately, I had no such luck. The only things I could see around me were magazines, manga, CDs, empty box lunches, that kind of stuff.
ダメだ。
I was hopeless. I couldn't even snap a single piece of nylon string on my own.
ユアは戻ってくるよね。
Yeah, it would be nice for her to come back, so at least we would get to eat and piss, you know? I intentionally voiced those thoughts out loud, meaning I was basically talking to myself.
ねえねえタッキー、もしかしてさ、見捨てられたんじゃない？
Abandoned me? As in, you had left me here to rot? As in, she wasn't planning on coming back? If that was all true, I was screwed. Surely she had just tied me up and expected me to survive on my own, right? If you want to lock someone up, then you should have realized that you're responsible for them until you let them go. Go. Her. Come on. That was just common sense. No, she couldn't have abandoned me. I was overthinking it. He was definitely going to come back. She still hadn't uncovered Shogun's true identity, so surely she wouldn't give up yet. You would never abandon me. This is fine.
知ってる？そういうのってさ、ストックホルム症候群って言うんよ。
Yes, I absolutely know what Stockholm Syndrome is. But you're wrong. This isn't like that. My brain isn't dependent on you or anything. As if I would ever warm up to that mental case, let alone fall for her.
僕もつい最近、ナナミのことがあったから、ユアの気持ちはわからなくはないとかって脳内で妄想してなかったっけ？
Was I lying to myself? Was I just forcing myself to believe that I could trust Yua? Maybe I was. Stockholm Syndrome was a psychological phenomenon in which people deceive their own selves for the sake of survival. Yeah. But what else could I do in this situation? I had no other choice. I had to align Yua. Remy had backed out, and Nanami hadn't come to check on me for a long time now. My parents would let me know when they were worried about me via Nanami, but they never actually checked on me personally because they don't exist, or some shit like that. And the only other person that knew I lived in this container was Yua. Which meant the only person I could rely on was also Yua. Therefore, I had to lie to myself. It was the only way I could survive. I don't want to die. I didn't want Yua to mistreat me, and I didn't have the courage to resist her using force. So that was why I decided to just submit. I wouldn't resist, and then if I waited long enough, eventually she'd understand that that was the only way an otaku freak like me would be able to survive. I would trusted Yua. I've trusted her by lying to myself, and then I'd make it out of this without anyone getting hurt.
あんなストーカーメガネ女を信じちゃダメだよ。タッキーゆとりすぎ。
For the first time in my life, I completely ignored what Saratan had to say. So please, come back soon, Yua. You're coming back, right? Oh, shit. And then it happened. Oh, thank God. Actually, not fake. You know. Without warning, the door burst open, caught me completely by surprise, and I immediately froze. I could finally see outside. The sky was dyed orange by the setting sun. There, obscuring my view of it, was Yua. I was relieved from the bottom of my heart to see her there, realizing that it had been abandoned. Nearly made me cry tears of joy. It was a little disgusted with how easily it had been tamed, but my disgust was immediately overshadowed by the intense feeling of relief.
おかえり。
I had no one else, so I was forced to be dependent on her. That was why something so fucking stupid had somehow come out of my mouth. But...
あなた、邪魔だわ、西条くん。
Jesus Christ! Yua quickly walked over to me, crouched down to meet me at eye level, and then... she grabbed my hair and yanked on it hard. Jesus.
邪魔なの。あなたがいなければ、
Oh my
将
God.
軍は出てくるはずなのに。なんでいるの？自重してよ。少し引っ込んでよ。
Oh my God.
あなたと話しても意味ないの。私はあなたと話したいんじゃない。出して。将軍を出しなさいよ。
Yua's acting weird. Was she getting impatient because Shogun wouldn't come out? Did that mean she was going to resort to more drastic measures? This wasn't what I had planned. I believed in her. I trusted that she would go berserk on me. Was she about to betray me again? Who am I kidding? I'm the only one who feels betrayed. I was forced to face reality. I had decided to place my trust in Yua all on my own. She had never asked me to, not once. Had I just been naive? It was because I was an otaku freak in the Shonen too, wasn't it? I knew pretty much nothing about human interaction because of those things, so tricking me was like taking candy from a baby. If I was right about this, then I'd been right about everything. Nothing good could come from being 3D. It was time for me to become a real Shonen, but this time I locked myself in the 2D world. Yua thrust something in front of my face. It was a notebook of some kind.
妹の日記です。
Oh God.
家に戻って取ってきたんです。これを読んであなたは知るべきです。妹、みーちゃん、 集団ライブが起きるもっと前からあなたに、いえ、将軍に狙われていたんです。
God. Even since before?
ストーカーされていたんですよ。だから集団ライブ5人を殺すのが目的だったんじゃない。他の4人は巻き添え、依頼はミヤちゃん1人だった。そうでしょう。
I don't know.
そうよね、将軍。答えて、出てきて答えなさい。
Yua's voice was getting more and more hysterical. My fear of her had come back full force. My heart was beating on my chest. My entire body trembled. But even so, I still couldn't accept what Yua was accusing me of. It was just a bunch of delusions she'd come up with, nothing but pure falsehoods. I had never even met Yua's sister. I desperately shook my head from side to side, but she grabbed my hair so tight the pain kept me from moving very much.
まだ出てこないつもりですか。
Yua's face drew even closer, close enough to whisper in my ear. And then she brought the diary even closer to my face.
で、ミヤちゃんの苦しみを見なさい。
She forced me to look up, then while still holding the diary with one hand, Yua started dexterously turning the pages. And what I saw run there sent a chill down my spine. Yep. What is this? What the hell is this?
日記の最後のページ、ミヤが最後に書き残した。その誰の日付は9月6日。集団ライブでミヤが殺された前日です。
将軍だ。あいつに思考盗撮されてたんだ。
思考盗撮って何？違うでしょ。
Oh my god.
違うわ。ストーカーされていたんです。将軍に。あなたに。
僕は将軍じゃ。
あなたの中にいる将軍にです。
だから言ってるじゃないか。将軍は他にいるんだ。
将軍は西条匠です。言い逃れしないで。その目誰なのというあなたが昔書いた作文がその証拠です。
Yeah, unfortunately.
他にもいくつもの状況証拠がある。あなたしか考えられないの。考えられないのよ。あなたじゃなきゃおかしい。妹はあなたに殺された。
God. That's not true. That's not true at all. I don't sleepwalk and I don't have multiple personalities either. Shogun does exist, but he isn't me. He's someone else, I swear.
どう思う？この日記を見てどう思うの？ミヤを追い詰めて殺して満足？こんな日記を書かせるぐらい追い詰めて満足？
God.
どうしてミヤにこんなひどいことをしたの？どうしてミヤを殺したの？どうして？
今は間違ってる。
Everything you say is wrong.
間違ってるのはあなたよ。あなたは人を殺した。殺したじゃない。人殺し。
だってこの日記はユアの日記じゃないか。
Wait. Wait! It did say you was diary. Why the fuck did I not notice that? It did say Yua's diary.
なんです？
Yua looked puzzled. It stuck out to me like a sore thumb since I first seen it, what was written on the front cover. Yua's diary. At first, I thought I was just mistaken or something, but Yua had said exactly whose diary she thought it was.
妹の日記です。
But if it was her sister's diary, we shouldn't have said Mia's diary? Oh, fuck.
これはユアの日記だ。 表紙にそう書いてある。
Have we been talking to Mia this entire time?
何言ってるの？
You deliberately avoided looking at the front cover.
これはミヤちゃんのよ。死んだミヤちゃんの日記。あなたに殺されたミヤちゃんの。ミヤちゃんのなのよ。ミヤちゃんが書いた。
Oh, fuck.
死ぬ前に書いたの。
だったら表紙を見てよ。
Terrified, I nervously pointed at the notebook. Without showing a hint of hesitation, Yua closed and took a look at the cover. When she did, she turned back toward me and said,
やっぱりミヤちゃんの日記だわ。
Oh my god. Huh? She must have seen it just now. There was no way she hadn't. Yua's diary was right there, written in bright red marker. So how had she...
これはミヤちゃんが書いた日記。
Oh my god.
私を騙そうとしたの。騙されるわけないでしょ。私はミヤちゃんとずっと一緒に育ってきたんだから。生まれてからずっと一緒だったんだから。あなたなんかよりずっと私の方がミヤちゃんのことを知ってる。
Fuck.
知ってるの。
ユアには見えないの。はっきり書いてあるじゃないか。それはユアの日記。
Oh fuck. Yua's hand suddenly shot up to her temples. Her face was warped in pain.
違う。この日記は私じゃなくてミヤちゃんが。私。西条くんに自覚があるはずないから。あなたは DID 多重人格なんです。
Honestly, ever since she brought that up, I've always kind of like had this weird feeling. And then they brought up the sister, the twin sister. And I'm like, multiple personalities, twin sisters, psychological horror. When did this come out? I'm just saying it's very similar to Higurashi. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
君は誰だ？
私はユア。私は。
Could it be that I'd never been the one with the DID? Been Yua all along?
楠木ミヤなんて実在するの？
Had the police ever officially announced the identities of the group dive victims? Since she was a minor, they would have just called her Girl A or something, right? Or...
ユアに双子の妹なんて本当にいたの？
Well, it's certainly possible that someone named Kinsoki Mia had existed and had died in the group dive. It was also possible that they were completely unrelated to Kinsoki Yua, the person standing in front of me right now. They could have simply been someone with an extremely similar name. Yeah?
ヒルア。
Oh, fuck. Suddenly, Yua wrapped her hands around my neck. Her fingers were oh so slender, and yet they harbored a terrifying amount of strength within them. I couldn't breathe.
いたわよ。ミヤちゃんは確かにいた。
Oh, fuck.
はっきり覚えてるもの。
証明できるの？
Her Yua's grasp weakened.
自分は DID じゃないって証明できるの？
Oh.
楠木ミヤじゃないって証明できるの？
I, for one, couldn't prove that I wasn't my alter ego, after all, the only way to prove that I wasn't Shokin would have been for him to show up next to me.
できるわ。
Huh? Yua took her hands off my neck. She let the notebook fall to the floor.
ミヤちゃんにはほくろがあった。
Yua slowly began to remove her uniform's top.
左胸の下、 そこにほくろがあった。私にはないほくろ。
She unbuttoned her blouse one button at a time, her hands trembling in a patient way as she did. But she didn't stop there. She went on to remove her bra too. Her very voluptuous breasts were covered only by her hands. She fumbled around, searching for a certain spot on her skin. I searched too, with my eyes. And just under her left breast was a mole.
ある。
Oh, fuck.
あるよ。
どうして。私にはほくろはないはずなのに。私誰。
Oh, fuck. Yua's face grew pale as a ghost, and her lips trembled in fear. Her eyes swam into place, gazing into the abyss as she wrapped her arms around herself. She didn't even care that she was still half naked.
私はユア。私はずっといい子で、ミヤちゃんはずっと悪い子で。
Oh my god.
私はずっといい子になりたくて、ミヤちゃんはユアちゃんが大好きで、ユアちゃんはミヤちゃんが心配で。
I don't think she ever did exist. Her ramblings gradually turned even more incoherent. I was pretty freaked out. But I knew I couldn't just abandon her and make a run for it. I knew full well exactly what mental state she was in, because I, until only a moment ago, had been in the exact same one. From the moment you had told me I had DID, I'd been suffering from non-stop anxiety and instability, so I really did understand. I knew what it was like to feel like your entire existence was one step away from crumbling to dust. I didn't know if she was suffering from DID or if it was something else entirely. But what I did know was that there was something wrong with her, and there always had been. I knew people could be two-faced, but she was far, far too good at it. It was still hard to believe that she'd been acting when we first met. The difference between her back then and her when she snapped was like night and day. So much so that it didn't feel like the same person. Yeah, I've always gotten that vibe.
ユアは DID なんじゃ。
違う、ちゃんといた、ちゃんといたの。ミヤちゃんはちゃんといた。
Still covering her breasts with one arm, Yua fished for something to the top she'd just taken off. She then took out her phone, hit a few buttons, and showed it to me.
見て、ここにいるでしょ。私たちがいるでしょ。
Oh.
あ、
Okay. She did exist. There were definitely two people on the screen there, and the image didn't look edited either. The two looked eerily similar in that picture, although they were twins. The only difference was that one had glasses and the other didn't. Even their hairstyle was the same.
私はここにいる。
君はどっちなんだ。
I think you're Mia.
私は。
She pointed to the one on the Oh, fuck. Right at that moment, the force started shaking violently. An earthquake? It's even bigger than the last one. Oh, shit. I was struck with a violent ringing in my ears. It was such intensely shrill, it wasn't a sound. My head felt like it was about to burst open. Yua grabbed her head and fell to her knees. I wanted to do the same, but my hands were tied up, so I couldn't. I felt like my ears were being pierced by thousands upon thousands of needles. And then... Shit. I was hit by an enormous impact, and a blinding light dyed my vision completely white. Well, shit, huh?
あの日、私たちは入れ替わった。
Oh. At the Shibuya McD, a large wave of students arrived as soon as evening hit. I could hear the high-pitched voices of high school girls joyfully chatting away with one another. I took a moment to look out the window, and then I took out my phone. It was now 5:02 p.m. on September 7th, 2 minutes past the time she was supposed to be here. I took a bite out of my chicken sandwich, feeling a bit annoyed.
ごめんみやちゃん、待たせちゃった？
Yua-chan appeared, tray in hand, and sat down in front of me. I let out a small sigh.
うん、待った。5分くらいおまけしてほしいな。あ、みやちゃんもチキンバーガー？私もだよ。
She pointed to the chicken sandwich on her tray. Two of us were twins, so it was only natural that we have the same preferences. She really didn't need to point out every little time that we had something in common, but she happily did so anyway.
みやちゃんとこうして渋谷で会うのって初めてだよね。
Oh. I didn't go to school in Shibuya, and the two of us saw each other at home all the time, so we just didn't have any reasons or opportunities to meet up in Shibuya. That was all there was to it.
私にお願いしたいことって何？私にできることなら何でも言ってね。
I took the last bite of my chicken sandwich, sipped some of my iced tea, and then I leaned toward Yua-chan.
実はこれから人と会うんだけど。彼氏？そんなんじゃない。今まで一度も会ったことない人たち。
Oh.
たちって何人？4人かな。どういう関係なの？ネットで知り合った人。別にやましい関係とかじゃないから。アニメのファンサイトみたいな掲示板があるんだけど、そこで。へえ、私インターネットなんて全くやらないからよくわからないけど、そうやってネットで知り合うことってよくあるの？まあね。でもオフ会は私も初めてで。みやちゃん人見知りだもんね。人見知りじゃない。人に合わすのが苦手なだけ。そういうことにしておいてあげる。で、大丈夫なの？初めての人たち相手にうまく話せそう？本当は会おうと思ってたんだけど、今になってやっぱり怖くなっちゃったんだ。めんどくさくなっただけ。でもドタキャンするのも悪いし、だから私が代わりに行けばいいのね。
I see. So, yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's they switched clothes, but because of that, Yua was the one to die instead of Nia, and it fucked with her mind. Like, she should have been the one there instead of her sister. Yua-chan was really perspective. She understood what I was trying to say before even I finished my sentence. Usually that was more annoying than was helpful, but this time I was glad that I didn't have to explain everything.
そういうことお願いしていい？別にいいけど、みやちゃんはそれでいいの？友達を作れるチャンスなのに。そんな小学生みたいな扱いしないでよ。別に友達を作りたいわけじゃないし。もうみやちゃんは本当に意地っ張りなんだから。
I have to say, credit to the voice actress, because, like, I can kind of tell there's, like, a bit of a difference in their voices, like with she and me on. I know I keep comparing the two, but come on. It's really, I bet it's really hard to differentiate, like, twin characters, like, if you're using the same voice actor and such like that. And I can kind of hear it. Obviously it's in a different language, so I can't really tell, but I can, like, the tone is kind of like Yua's voice is way more higher pitched than Mia's. Like, Mia's is more of a lower kind of, more like wuff, tomboy kind of voice. So it's actually, it's very incredible. As I said, like, last episode, Japanese VAs are fucking built different.
言ってくれる？うん、わかった。私は楠木ミアになりきればいいのよね。
I mean, there's probably been a few examples, but I just haven't seen many of, like, American voice actors, like, voicing, like twin siblings with, like, with the same voice actor, obviously. Like, I haven't seen many examples of that. Maybe I have, but I've just forgotten, but, you know, still.
そこまでしなくてもいいけど。 どうせならとことんやった方が面白いじゃない。そうだ、制服も入れ替えようよ。なんでそんなにはしゃいでるの？みやちゃんから頼み事されるなんてめったにないでしょ。だから嬉しいの。
Yeah, this does explain her incredible drive to find the murderers because she was supposed to be there, not her sister.
ゆあちゃん、バカみたい。どうせバカなお姉さんですよーだ。ほら、そうと決まれば着替えちゃおうよ。
Yua-chan forcefully pulled me by the hand. I did think when Ben mentioned that, like, they were in the bathroom for 10 minutes, I'm like, did they switch clothes or something? But I didn't say anything. We went to the private bathroom, and after a couple minutes, we swapped all clothing and personal effects.
みやちゃん、水泳の制服似合うね。きっとお父さんやお母さんでもどっちがどっちなのか見分けつかないよ。あ、でもメガネかけてたら一発でバレちゃうかな。これも外して行くのはちょっと難しいかも。何も見えなくなっちゃう。
Oh, shit.
初対面の相手なんだからここまでしなくてもよかったのに。もうまだ言ってるし、待ち合わせの時間そろそろなんでしょ。それまで打ち合わせしておこうよ。私アニメのことちっともわからないけど、何を話せばいいの？適当に相槌打ってればいいよ。どうせ一回こっきりしか会わない人たちなんだし。そんなことないよ。この出会いを通してお友達付き合いすることになるかもしれないでしょ。もしかしたら彼氏もできちゃうかも。
Aw.
興味ない。あるくせになかったら会う約束なんてしないもの。うるさいな。頑張って楠木美也はとってもいい子ですっていうのを印象づけてくるね。本当にそういうのいいってば。
If she did that, it'd be even harder for me to go the second time. I just wasn't as sociable as she was.
それじゃ行ってくるね。よろしく。そこまで頑張らなくていいから。はいはい。じゃあね、みやちゃん。
Yua-chan smiled and waved goodbye, wearing my uniform, holding my bag, and then she disappeared in the crowds of Shibuya. It's none other than Kusunoki Mio. That had been the last time I'd ever seen Yua-chan. I then had gone home, waited for her to come back, only to see that case on the news. I know why I fucking thought of, like, the idea. It was because, like, one of the first things we seen with Yua was her on the computer looking DID on Wikipedia. That's, like, ever since that moment, I'm like, why is she looking that up? Even with the context of, like, she thought Takayumi had it, it was always such a weird thing, you know, specifically. Like, why was she looking that up? Like, specifically, you know, like one of the first scenes we ever get with her, looking up DID, you know. So I always had that kind of thought in the back of my mind of like, what if, you know, she has it. When I came to, my headache was so bad it felt like it was splitting in two. The first thing I realized was that I was pinned under my bed. The second was that the bed had fallen on top of me. Ugh. So not only was my head about to burst from the pain, but my back was too under the weight of the bed. The only thing I could move were my eyes, which allowed me to witness the sheer devastation of my room. Yo was slumped against the wall, staring off in a daze. She'd been half naked before the earthquake hit, but it seemed like she put her clothes back on. Also, I should have mentioned this before, that CG was very, very, very much needed. Well, what can I say? The best artists are perverts. Anyway, before she had been completely topless while also keeping her glasses on, which had honestly brought some life back into me. But now her glasses had fallen to their feet. Lenses were cracked.
助けて。 紐ほどいてよ。
It took nearly everything in me, but I managed to fight through the headache and call out to Yua, and with the most empty eyes, she looked at me.
思い出したの。
Literally, who cares? I don't give a shit about what you remember. Just untie me already. Can't move on this thing.
思い出したのよ。
Yua slowly got up and easily untied the tight knot. Almost too easily, in fact, considering how dark it was and how she wasn't wearing her glasses. Finally, free man, I managed to slip out from under the bed. But that was about as far as I went. That felt like it was being cracked open, just like it had during the previous earthquakes. Even standing up felt impossible, so I endured the pain on all fours.
ユアちゃんだったのよ。
Yua was once again mumbling something in a low voice.
集団ダイブで死んだのはミアじゃない。ユアちゃんだった。
ユア、何を。
私はユアじゃない。
A wide smile spread across Yua's lips.
私はミアよ。自分をユアちゃんだって思い込んでただけ。あの日私たちは入れ替わったの。それでユアちゃんは死んだ。本当は私が死ぬはずだったのに。
Yeah. Well, at least this confirms to us that, yeah, Sua's still mind-fucked her parents. Suddenly, the expression on Yua's face disappeared. Complimenting the empty eyes had yet to leave her, and then she extended her hand toward me.
西条くん、
Oh god.
もう将軍のことなんてどうでもよくなっちゃった。結局ユアちゃんは私が死なせたようなものだから。
Well, that's okay. You have made a breakthrough, but I don't think that's the solution here.
ねえ、一緒に来てほしい。
どこへ。
ユアちゃんが死んだ場所。一緒に来てくれるだけでいい。
Oh.
お願い。
I didn't know why exactly she was asking me this, but I had an idea. An idea that soon became a realization. Mia, was planning to die. I had no idea whether or not I should stop her. It was probably too late for me to say anything about that might reach her. Yeah. Ugh. And so I took Mia's hand and went to pull myself up. Ooh. I felt a stabbing pain in my head. I pictured my eyes being dyed a scarlet red. The throbbing pulsation of the blood vessels inside my head reverberated throughout my entire body. It hurt too much to move. I didn't have the strength.
歩ける？
Mia supported my body with her shoulder.
歩いてくれないと困るわ。一緒に来てほしいの。私を助けると思って。お願い。
Oh, save you? I don't know about that, Mia. Here as always. Scramble Crossing. And I think this is a good stopping point right here. I feel like next episode we're definitely going to finish this one up and start on the Awis route next time. But yeah, I was kind of like, it's not the biggest twist in the world to me because I kind of suspected it for a while. Of at least Yua having DID. But when she mentioned her sister, it was kind of like I wasn't like 100% convinced in my own head of like, yeah, she was definitely Mia. It was more of like, I don't know, like you know, she was obviously haunted by her spirit with that whole ghost in the hospital thing. But yeah, shit. I'm just saying, like, I know I keep comparing this to Higurashi, but come on, like Shion and Mion, Mia and Yua, it's actually very similar names. I mean, all I'm saying is, you know, took very heavy inspiration probably from Higurashi, since Higurashi came out in like what 2003, like episode fuck, what was it? Like episode 2 would have been like 2004 or some shit like this. Well, I think this game came out in like 2007, 2008 or something like that. So I'm just all I'm saying is, very heavy homage, let's say, in its own way. I'll give it that. It's spun in its own way, and it does coincide with the whole thing of this really the main message of the story, which is people troubled by their own vices. Obviously, we know Takayumi's vice. We know a little bit of Rimi's. And obviously, I feel like as we go on, we learn more and more about the other girls and their own demons, their own vices they have to deal with. While the Nami's route was kind of like it wasn't really focused on Nanami. It was more like Takayumi's perspective on Nanami as his sister. But I feel like for the rest of the girls, it's definitely going to be a much more bigger focus on their own personal like demons and the things they have to deal with, and how Takayumi kind of helps them break through them. I guess maybe, or maybe each one is unique on its own. But I feel like that's kind of the structure we're going with this game and its story. So it still fits together. It's just it's not the biggest, it's not the most like holy fucking shit, mind blowing twist of all time to me at least. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. When you tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Check out Discord server on it, or my Twitter. Check the description below. And yeah, it's been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!